In the ancient pantheon of the Yoruba people, where gods and mortals wove their fates together under the vast African sky, there reigned Oya, the goddess of storms, winds, rebirth, and change. One of the 7 primary orishas in Yoruba mythology, Oya was a figure of awe and reverence, her name whispered in both fear and adoration. She was the fierce and favored wife of Sango, the thunderous deity of lightning and fire, and the daughter of Obatala, the serene creator god who shaped humanity from clay. Together, Oya and Sango formed a tempestuous pair, her winds fanning his flames into roaring infernos, a union of power that shook the heavens and the earth alike. Oya was no mere consort. She was a warrior goddess, her presence as commanding as the gales she summoned. Clad in swirling garments of crimson and black, she wielded a gleaming sword that could cleave through resistance as easily as it cut the air, and a fan crafted from the feathers of the storm bird, with which she directed the winds and called forth tempests. Her beauty was fierce, her eyes flashing like lightning, and her voice carried the rumble of distant thunder. To her people, she was a symbol of protection and strength, a deity who brought rain to parched fields, ensuring bountiful harvests, and a guide through the inevitable upheavals of life. Yet, her power was double-edged. Her storms could nurture, but they could also destroy. This is the tale of one such storm, a cataclysm born of Oya's wrath, when her temper, like the winds she ruled, spiraled beyond restraint, leaving a lesson etched into the memory of the Yoruba people. It began in a time of prosperity, along the banks of the Ogun River, where villages thrived under the favor of the orishas. The people tilled the soil, sang praises to Obatala for their creation, and offered sacrifices to Sango for his fiery protection. Oya too, they honored, laying gifts of yams and palm wine at her shrines, for her rains had blessed their crops with abundance. But abundance bred complacency, and complacency bred disrespect. The villagers grew careless in their offerings, their prayers half-hearted, their dances lacking the fervor they once held. They began to whisper that Oya's storms were a burden, her winds a nuisance that toppled their roofs and scattered their grain. Why must we appease her? They grumbled. The rains come whether we ask or not. Oya, perched upon the winds that carried every word to her ears, listened in silence. Her heart, vast as the sky, churned with disappointment. She had cradled these people, guided their transitions, and swept away their stagnation with her breezes. Yet now they scorned her gifts. Still she held her temper, for she was a goddess of change, not petty vengeance. She turned her face to the horizon, hoping their gratitude would return. But a final spark came on, a day of celebration, a festival meant to honor Sango, her beloved. The villagers gathered in the central square, beating drums and raising their voices to the thunder god. They adorned his shrine with garlands and poured libations of palm oil, their chants rising like smoke. Yet Oya's shrine stood neglected, its offerings meager, a few wilted leaves and a cracked gourd. Worse still, a young man emboldened by palm wine laughed aloud and declared, "Sango's fire is mightier than Oya's wind. She is but his shadow." The crowd roared with mirth, their mockery a dagger to Oya's pride. High above, Oya's patience shattered. The air grew heavy, the sky darkening, as her fury took form. She descended in a whirlwind, her crimson robes billowing, her fan raised high. "Ungrateful children," she roared, her voice a tempest that silenced their laughter. "You mock the wind that feeds your fields, the storm that renews your lives. Then taste the fullness of my power." With a sweep of her fan, she unleashed the winds, wild, untamed, and relentless. The clouds tore open, and rain fell not as a blessing, but as a deluge, a torrent that swallowed the earth. The Ogun River, once a gentle lifeline, swelled into a monstrous flood. Waters surged over its banks, sweeping away huts, uprooting trees and drowning the fields the people had so prized. Men, women, and children fled, their cries lost in the howling gale. But there was no escape from Oya's wrath. Lightning, Sango's own fire, crackled in the sky, as if he too mourned the chaos his wife had wrought. Yet he did not intervene. For hours the storm raged, the flood waters rising, until the villages were but memories beneath the waves. Hundreds perished, their bodies carried away by the currents, their arrogance washed into oblivion. At last, Oya's anger subsided. She stood atop a hill, her sword planted in the sodden earth, gazing at the devastation below. The winds quieted, the rain softened to a drizzle, and the goddess wept, tears not of regret, but of sorrow for what had been lost. She had not meant to destroy so utterly, yet her temper, like the storms she governed, had no half measures. The survivors crept from their hiding places, trembling as they beheld her silhouette against the clearing sky. They fell to their knees, offering prayers not of defiance, but of desperate reverence. Oya spoke then, her voice a low murmur, carried on the breeze. I am the wind of change, the storm of renewal. I give life, but I demand respect. Forget me, scorn me, and I will remind you of my might. Honor me, and I will cradle you through every transition. With that, she ascended, leaving the people to rebuild amidst the wreckage. In the years that followed, the Yoruba learned their lesson well. They rebuilt their villages with stronger walls, their shrines to Oya adorned with the finest offerings, feathers, swords, and fans carved in her likeness. They taught their children the tale of the great flood, a cautionary saga of a goddess wronged and a people humbled. The lesson was clear: power, even divine power, is not to be taken lightly. Oya's storms were a gift, but they demanded gratitude, for to ignore the forces that shape the world is to invite their fury. And so, Oya remains a goddess of duality, fierce yet nurturing, destructive yet transformative. Her winds still sweep the land, her rains still fall, and her people still dance in her honor, ever mindful that change, like a storm, comes with both peril and promise.
If you seek wisdom, why not get it from a god? Subscribe to hear more lessons from the gods.